Did you know that McDonald's is the fastest food chain to make hamburgers? Have you ever wondered how it is possible for millions of people around the world to enjoy a McDonald's burger at the same time? The history of McDonald's began in 1940 when brothers Richard and Maurice McDonald opened a small fast food restaurant in San Bernardino, California. Back then, their menu was limited, but their innovative focus on speed and efficiency revolutionized the way food was served. This concept attracted the attention of Ray Kroc, a smoothie machine salesman, who saw the potential to expand the business. In 1955, Kroc founded McDonald's Corporation and began franchising the model throughout the United States. The rest, as they say, is history. McDonald's not only changed the way we eat, but also redefined marketing and advertising in the business world. From its earliest days, the brand used innovative strategies to connect with consumers. One of the biggest successes was the creation of Ronald McDonald, the friendly clown who became the face of the company and a symbol of fun for children. Additionally, the brand has worked with countless celebrities, athletes, and musicians on memorable advertising campaigns. Remember when Michael Jordan starred in McDonald's commercials in the 90s? Or the recent collaboration with artists like Travis Scott and BTS, who launched personalized menus that became a global phenomenon. These campaigns not only boosted sales but also strengthened consumers' emotional connection with the brand. But the most impressive thing about McDonald's is not just its marketing, but the way it has managed to maintain consistency in its products worldwide. McDonald's factories are a true marvel of food engineering. Each burger starts with 100% beef, selected and processed under strict quality standards. The factories use high-tech machinery to shape and cook the burgers in a completely controlled environment. They are then flash frozen to preserve freshness and carefully packaged for distribution to restaurants around the world. A McDonald's burger starts long before you set foot in the store or place an order for delivery. It begins in the livestock fields where cattle are raised, mostly for the meat industry. The company works hand in hand with certified suppliers that meet strict food safety and animal welfare standards, ensuring that the raw materials are suitable to meet the recipe and the desired consistency. From the slaughter of animals in controlled slaughterhouses through cutting and selecting lean cuts, each step is monitored with technology and a team of experts to guarantee uniform and safe meat. After the selection of the raw material comes the processing phase in highly automated factories, which can produce thousands of units of meat per minute. To do this, the meat is minced and mixed, seeking a precise balance between proteins and fat to provide just the right juiciness. The machines then form the frozen medallions that will travel to the restaurants. A fundamental part of this process is packaging, where each portion is vacuum-packed and sealed, maintaining freshness and hygiene. And although we are talking about large industrial quantities, each batch undergoes rigorous quality control, which includes organoleptic and chemical tests, ensuring that the brand standards are respected regardless of the plant or country of production. Frozen medallions travel enormous distances in trucks specially equipped to maintain the cold chain. In this way, when they arrive at the restaurants, employees receive a product in optimal conditions. There, the cycle is completed with rapid cooking at high temperature on plates or grills, providing that characteristic aroma. Meanwhile, the bread and other ingredients, lettuce, tomato, cheese, sauces, also follow their own supply chain and quality control, with bread factories and horticultural suppliers committed to McDonald's standards. The most common breeds of cattle are raised on ranches and feedlots that meet animal welfare standards, health regulations, and, increasingly, sustainability criteria. Combined feeding, grass, grains, supplementation, and veterinary control ensure a degree of fat infiltration that provides the desired balance between juiciness and texture in the cuts. The use of antibiotics is restricted and monitored to avoid residues in the meat, according to health guidelines. Each batch of cattle is recorded in traceability systems that include their origin, vaccination dates, treatments received, and management on the farm. This information is subsequently linked to the resulting meat, guaranteeing transparency in the supply chain. McDonald's and its business partners conduct audits to verify compliance with animal welfare practices, stress reduction, and resource optimization. When the animals reach the target age and weight, they are carefully transported to the slaughterhouse. A rigorous loading protocol is followed, avoiding overcrowding in trucks and excessive stress. This process directly influences the final quality of the meat. A stressed animal can release hormones that alter the pH, tenderness, and flavor. For this reason, we seek to minimize bumps and bruises during movement. Upon arrival at the slaughterhouse, the slaughter and cutting process lays the foundation for the meat that will be destined for McDonald's. Here, the exhaustive quality control and verification of each channel is materialized. The animals spend a short period of rest in pens attached to the slaughterhouse, where an official veterinarian checks that they do not present signs of infectious diseases. Only healthy animals move up the chain. The sacrifice is carried out using stunning methods, generally captive bolt, that reduce or eliminate consciousness before bleeding, complying with international animal welfare regulations. The carcass body is hung to allow blood to escape, a step that affects the quality and color of the meat. Subsequently, the cavities are opened and viscera and organs are removed, which are carefully monitored. The veterinary inspector discards any organs suspected of pathology. Part of these byproducts are destined for other industries' fertilizers, pharmaceuticals. Each beef is generally divided into half carcasses or quarters, labeled with a serial number that ensures the traceability of the animal. The meat is then placed in cooling chambers at 0 to 4 degrees Celsius for a few hours or days, depending on the production line. This rest helps the meat complete its post-mortem rigidity and stabilize, promoting tenderness. In various countries, a classification of the carcass is applied by marbling, firmness, and thickness of subcutaneous fat. These scales, for example, in the US, they talk about choice, select, prime influence the destination of the meat. For hamburgers, a certain level of intramuscular fat is important for flavor. McDonald's provides its slaughterhouses with a profile of specifications on muscle composition and type, fat proportion, and other factors. In this way, the meat that will later become medallions is obtained from sectors with ideal characteristics. Once the carcass or certain cuts have been stabilized and passed the controls, they are moved to the processing plant, where they will be transformed into hamburger medallions. Depending on the logistics, it may be a facility adjacent to the slaughterhouse or a production center located kilometers away. Upon arrival, the temperature and condition of the meat are inspected again. Each batch carries its traceability document that includes the slaughterhouse of origin, the slaughter date, and the fat profile. Quality personnel check appearance, bright reddish color, no foreign odor, firmness, and visible fat content. If something doesn't add up, that batch can be held back for further analysis. Although much of the meat is already boned, there may be some bone or tendon to remove to achieve a uniform texture. The same happens with excessive fat that is trimmed, seeking to achieve the exact percentage of fat, for example around 15 to 20%, that McDonald's requires in its recipes. The lean and fatty cuts are separated for subsequent mixing in defined proportions, ensuring a balance of juiciness and flavor in the final product. We reach the phase where the meat is passed through industrial grinders. Plates of a certain caliber are chosen so that the grinding results in particles that are neither too coarse nor excessively fine. For regular type burgers, the ground has a certain intermediate size that, when cooked, gives a loose and tasty minced meat texture. In other variants, quarter pounder or signature, the granulometry can vary subtly. Temperature control is non-negotiable. Meat must remain within a range of 0 to 4 degrees Celsius to inhibit the multiplication of bacteria and preserve organoleptic attributes. The ground beef is placed in large mixers that combine the different batches of lean meat and the fattier cuts, according to the McDonald's formula. This step unifies the moisture, fat ratio, and consistency, so that regardless of the plant or region, the burger always has a homogeneous quality. If applicable, fat content tests are carried out with methods such as NIR, near-infrared, or chemical extraction in the internal laboratory. Everything goes through validation before advancing to the medallion shaping phase. After obtaining the appropriate meat mixture, we move on to forming the medallions, those discs that will reach the plates of McDonald's restaurants around the planet. Automated lines inject the mixture into molds that measure the exact amount of meat for each medallion. Thickness and diameter standard burger or heavier quarter pounder are precisely adjusted, eliminating variations that would affect cooking. These machines can produce tens of thousands of medallions per hour with constant weight and size control. If anomalies are detected, for example, a medallion thicker than the others, the system removes it, correcting the calibration if necessary. The newly formed medallions are moved on conveyor belts to a freezing tunnel IQF, or individual quick freezing. This is maintained at very low temperatures between -30 degrees Celsius and -40 degrees Celsius with air currents or liquid nitrogen so that the medallion goes from fresh to frozen in minutes. This ultra-rapid freezing preserves moisture within the meat and prevents the formation of large ice crystals that can damage the cellular structure, which would negatively impact juiciness and texture during cooking. After freezing, sensors or cameras are applied to check the shape and detect possible defects, cracks, or separations. Defective medallions are removed and reintroduced into the mix so as not to waste raw material. Each medallion that passes the control is sent to packaging, always being kept in an environment of -18 degrees Celsius or lower. Frozen medallions are grouped in inner bags or stacked, and then placed in sealed boxes, often under vacuum or controlled atmosphere, which prolongs shelf life and prevents freezer burn. Each box receives a label with the production date, batch number, and plant of origin, allowing absolute traceability to the original farm or feedlot. One of McDonald's greatest achievements is ensuring that thousands of restaurants around the world receive these frozen medallions on time, maintaining the cold chain and making the burger taste the same in New York, Tokyo, or Buenos Aires. Once produced, boxes of frozen medallions can be sent to regional distribution centers or that also concentrate other products, breads, sauces, vegetables, frozen potatoes. Logistics are organized so that each DC is strategically located near a group of restaurants, reducing transportation time and preserving freshness. Trucks with cold storage keep the temperature stable during the journey to restaurants. They are loaded according to the delivery plan and unloaded in the kitchen, where the merchandise is recorded for rotation and use. On transcontinental routes, even refrigerated containers traveling by ship are used, requiring 24/7 temperature monitoring systems. Each restaurant receives an assortment of medallions according to the sales rate and the forecast for the week or month. Thus, avoid stock breaks or excess product that may approach its expiration date. Software tools calculate forecasts based on historical sales, local events and promotions, adjusting demand and supply. With more than 38,000 restaurants around the world, McDonald's manages one of the largest supply chains in the food sector. The efficiency with which they manage the frozen burger helps their reputation for quick service and standard menu. Upon arrival at each McDonald's location, the box of frozen medallions enters the local freezer or freezer. There, it awaits its turn for cooking, which is carried out as the orders or the daily sales forecast require it. In the kitchen, FIFO first in, first out control is followed. The first box that arrived is the first to be consumed, preventing the accumulation of old products at the bottom. The temperature is monitored so that it does not exceed -18 degrees Celsius. If there is a failure in the freezer, the store manager must isolate the potentially compromised product and contact the distribution center. When sales are expected, especially during peak hours, the staff takes out the required number of medallions and places them on the griddle. These medallions are cooked from their frozen state to ensure consistency and time control. McDonald's sets very precise cooking temperatures and durations. For example, the griddle is set to around 176 to 218 degrees Celsius, and each medallion cooks in about 40 to 70 seconds per side, depending on thickness, ensuring the minimum food-safe internal temperature. While the meat cooks, the bread is toasted. Sauces, pickles, cheese, and vegetables are added in a standardized sequence to maintain speed and uniformity. The entire team follows assembly guides. For example, in the classic hamburger, a certain number of onions, pickles, and a precise splash of sauce are applied, so as not to vary the recipe that the customer expects. McDonald's focus is to serve quickly after cooking, ensuring that the burger arrives hot and with the right texture. For this reason, hamburgers do not accumulate for too long in the display case. The brand promotes that no more than 10 to 15 minutes pass without being dispensed, reinforcing freshness. The griddles in McDonald's restaurants are designed with temperature sensors, alarms, and non-stick surfaces that simplify work. Staff receive basic but comprehensive training on cooking times and methods. Likewise, there are protocols for the useful life of the already cooked product. If it is not sold within a certain period, it is discarded to maintain McDonald's quality. Internal and external auditors can arrive at any restaurant without prior notice, reviewing kitchen hygiene, freezer stock, medallion handling, and griddle heat management. McDonald's invests in control laboratories that evaluate meat samples and final results, confirming fat content, the absence of pathogens, and the required texture. From time to time, sensory analyses are carried out to ensure that the flavor has not been derived. Integrated management systems can track, in real time, which batches of burgers are being used in each store and how many sales are generated. This facilitates decision-making about production in the plant, adapting the number of medallions needed according to demand. Apps and automation panels are also used to guarantee the uniformity of the refrigerated truck fleet, planning routes that minimize distances and ensuring product integrity. Given its enormous production volume, McDonald's is immersed in the debate over the carbon footprint of meat, deforestation associated with livestock farming, and water resource management. Even so, the company and its suppliers develop strategies to face these challenges. Much has been discussed about the impact of methane emitted by livestock. By sponsoring research in good livestock practices, paddock rotation, feeding, and genetics focused on food efficiency, we attempt to reduce emissions per kilo of meat produced. In addition, they promote manure management policies to use it as fertilizer and avoid contamination of soils and groundwater. Hamburger processing plants seek certifications such as environmental management systems and work to optimize energy use, recycle byproducts, and minimize waste in the meat grinding and shaping process. In logistics, trucks with lower fuel consumption are introduced, or even transport that combines diesel fuel with alternative energies. Given that intensive livestock farming can impact deforestation in some regions, McDonald's and livestock groups have established commitments to avoid purchasing livestock from illegally deforested areas. Likewise, they seek to innovate in reducing the water footprint, promoting efficient irrigation systems in pastures or forage crops, and avoiding the contamination of rivers and aquifers. In some markets, McDonald's is experimenting with plant-based burgers made with soy, peas, and vegetable oils to appeal to vegetarian or flexitarian consumers. These initiatives, although they represent a smaller fraction, aim to diversify the supply and mitigate the long-term livestock impact. Technology advances and McDonald's is not left out. From the robotization of certain stages to the digital monitoring of quality, the production of tons of burgers continues to evolve to be more efficient and meet changing expectations. Big data systems allow suppliers to fine-tune animal feeding, predict exact slaughter dates based on the growth curve, and plan pasture rotation for greater sustainability. In the processing plant, AI can be integrated with optical sensors that detect color or texture variations in ground meat, adjusting the fat ratio or line speed in real time. The trend to reduce salt and saturated fat without sacrificing flavor drives research into meats with a healthier lipid profile, mixtures with poultry, or even with mushrooms or other protein sources. It is foreseeable that in the future, some McDonald's lines will incorporate cultured meat patents or hybrid mixtures, depending on market acceptance and industrial viability. At the restaurant level, the chain is experimenting with self-service kiosks, automated fryers, and smart griddles that measure the internal moisture and temperature of the burger. This frees employees from repetitive tasks and ensures uniform cooking, minimizing human error. At the same time, it maintains its commitment to fast service that has characterized the brand. With more and more competition in the field of gourmet and artisanal burgers, McDonald's reinforces its narrative speed, consistency, and a historical flavor that many instantly recognize. While mass production could be seen as an obstacle to customization, the brand implements create your flavor systems in some countries, where the customer chooses extra ingredients. Frozen medallion technology and standardization make customization easier without compromising efficiency. Producing hundreds of thousands or even millions of hamburgers daily for McDonald's is a logistical and food engineering feat. Each medallion that reaches the restaurant's grill went through an extensive cycle: livestock as pasture and proper breeding of the animal, with welfare care and traceability. Slaughterhouse is careful slaughter, where the health and quality of the carcass is controlled. Hamburger plant is the meat is deboned, ground, and precise proportions of lean and fat are mixed to create a homogeneous blend, which is then molded into medallions and quickly frozen. Cold logistics is these medallions are moved to global distribution centers, maintaining the cold chain and meeting the demand of each region. Restaurant. They are cooked at exact temperatures accompanied by bread, sauces, and vegetables, and served to the customer in a matter of minutes. The key to ensuring that the hamburger tastes the same in every corner of the planet lies in the rigidity of its production standards and in the methodological control of each phase, both in the livestock plantation and in the industrial plant and the kitchen. And while this has sparked debates about the extreme standardization and homogenization of food culture, it also demonstrates the human capacity to massively coordinate the production and distribution of a food. On the other hand, awareness about the environmental and social impact of intensive livestock farming drives a dialogue towards improvements in the sustainability of meat. Despite the questions, McDonald's and its suppliers have been adopting measures that, without involving radical changes in the short term, at least aim to reduce the carbon footprint, optimize the chain, and ensure transparency with consumers. It is amazing to see how, in a few decades, a small hamburger conceived by the McDonald's brothers and then promoted by Ray Kroc became a universal icon. Today, behind a sandwich that is prepared in 40 to 60 seconds in any establishment, there is a global network of livestock farmers, meat processing factories, transporters, and restaurant employees. Each one fulfills its purpose in a synchronized machinery that, day after day, achieves the same recipe, the same flavor, and the same consistency, regardless of local culture or geographic location. The story of how tons of McDonald's hamburgers are made is, in the end, a portrait of the industrial and commercial capacity of modern civilization, which has refined a simple product, the hamburger, to unsuspected levels of logistical optimization. And as long as the consumer demands speed, uniformity, and affordable price, this value chain will continue to be perfected, adapting to new realities, such as the demand for alternative proteins, and seeking to be accepted by future generations. Thus, the McDonald's hamburger remains a symbol of gastronomic globalization and the intersection between agriculture, technology, and mass culture. Understanding how McDonald's produces tons of hamburgers a day to supply its thousands of restaurants around the world allows us to peer into a gigantic system, surprisingly coordinated and with almost surgical precision. We have explored every step, from raising the cattle and verifying their well-being to the meticulous preparation of the medallions and their cold conservation, demonstrating that behind each burger there is a logistical and technological process that involves farmers, veterinarians, operators, engineers, transporters, and of course, the staff of the restaurants where they are cooked and served. The supply chain that supports the mass manufacturing of hamburgers encompasses a global network of meat suppliers, with breeding plans that control the genetics, feeding, and health of the animals. A strict welfare protocol and veterinary controls are applied in the slaughterhouse, where the meat is examined, classified, and refrigerated. It then reaches processing plants that have automated lines capable of chopping and mixing the meat in exact proportions to guarantee the same level of fat and protein in each batch, no matter where in the world the raw material comes from. The step of forming the medallions and rapid freezing seals quality and uniformity so that all medallions arrive at restaurants in optimal conditions. The role of technology in the manufacture of these burgers is reflected in computer traceability systems from the farm to the kitchen and in equipment such as state-of-the-art grinders and formers, which guarantee constant granulometry and weight of the meat. Automation also extends to quality control, using sensors and cameras to detect imperfections, while distribution logistics uses refrigerated trucks and meticulously synchronized delivery plans to maintain the cold chain. All this in order to ensure that when you arrive at the restaurant, the product is identical to that of any other point on the planet. Thank you for reaching the end of the video. Comment on the word McDonald's if you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe and like for more content of this style. See you soon.